This is the second part of Unit 2 on the meaning or meanings of tones in discourse. As we have mentioned in the previous installment, the prosodic approach that we use to discuss the meaning of tones is the discourse intonation approach by David Brazel. In this particular case, we focus on the concept of dominance, which involves mainly the social implications of using any of the two referring tones, the rise or the fall rise tone. Other tones will be mentioned in relation to dominance as well. But let's define the concept of dominance. This concept derives from the sociological implications of the use of language in society. In every interaction, there is one participant who is in control of the conversation at a given moment, using the interpersonal metafunction of holiday, as stated by him in his approach. This momentary control is based on the social relationships that exist between the participants, augmented by the constraints of the activity type or speech event that is taking place, or any other factor of the context or situation. This control may be based on hierarchy differentials, but also on knowledge disparity, that is the degree of expertise on one matter that may make one participant more knowledgeable or savvy than another participant. When we associate the notion of dominance to the concept of inquiries, also stated in David Brazel's approach, we notice that the confirmation of hypotheses, a fundamental characteristic of making sure inquiries, is produced alongside the establishment of a social role, that of the expert or the boss. In finding out inquiries, this social and ideational meaning is expressed by means of the rise-fall intonation, but the information exchange in this case is new. But the speakers may also want to hide the overtones of dominance or show a social subordination. In this case, the fall-rise intonation is used to express meanings such as appeals for help to the interlocutor, justifications, among others. If new information is transacted, then the speakers may avoid the expression of dominance by using the fall intonation. Dominance is also directly associated with the concept of social symmetry or asymmetry, that disparity between interlocutors may be institutionalized based on social conventions or power relation differences. Examples of the opposite, that is, symmetrical social relationships, are the social statuses that pervade the interaction between friends, classmates, colleagues, etc. We use video tutorials in English Phonetics 3 with a twofold objective. The first is for it to be a stepping stone for spontaneous production, and the second, to exemplify the effect of dominance on the tone selection by the expert. Video tutorials from a genre-based perspective are instruction monologues of unplanned but controlled speech, in which the semantic content, that is, for example, a recipe, a DIY project, etc., is demonstrated by an expert and in view of a particular audience of viewers. Like other monologic text types, the video tutorial lacks conversational features such as turn-taking, collaborations, other repairs, or interlocutor feedback. However, the video tutorial expert may use phatic language, like audience appeals, and certain speech acts that are generally addressed to an interlocutor, like suggestions, encouragement, reminders, etc. The video tutorial is an example of the so-called new genre, as these emerge to fulfill new communicative needs and by means of technology. From the quotation by Miller to 2015, we can also highlight the user generation, community building, trial and error features of these tutorials, and specifically The discourse structure of video tutorial, which consists of an introduction with ritualized speech acts, plus a body of instructions and more ritualized speech acts for the closing part. In video tutorials, there may be a preference for the rise intonation when providing given or shared information in speech acts such as explanations, instructions, or in the vocatives used to address the audience, or the rise-fall tone for speech acts such as instruction given or advice. But a video tutorial expert may choose to present himself or herself in a non-dominant, more convergent style by using fall-rise intonation in certain speech acts for certain discourse markers or for predominant uses. If the information is new to the viewer, such as the presentation of the credentials or some types of greetings, the unmarked tone seems to be the non-dominant fall tone. The following is a summary of a presentation by Palma and Cañizares, who studied the intonation of the metadiscoursal elements in several video tutorials. The main result is that students exhibit some degree of acquisition of the metadiscoursal elements in the task, with some specific functions such as introducing speech acts, marking generic structure, but the principles for those functions seem to be idiosyncratic. Their use of the MDEs seem to be experimental, and with a varied use of intonation patterns associated with them. Interactive metadiscoursal markers have a higher frequency of use, and a minor focus on the interaction of metadiscoursal elements which comment or evaluate the text or appeal to the viewer. Here you can see a more detailed account of the type of metadiscoursal elements used by the students and the correlation with the prosodic aspects of tonality, tonicity, and prominence.